Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, welcome, good to have you. Like this video, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notified every time new content is released. I do a lot of videos on eyeshadow palettes from Natasha, Denona, Pat McGrath, and Viseart. And I do a lot of face palettes, blushes, such as Wayne Goss's latest blush and highlighter dual palette release. So without further ado, today we're going to talk about Wayne Goss's the Weightless Veil Blush Palette in colors Blush Peony and Coral Rose. I have Blush Peony here, which is what I have on my cheeks right now. And I just want to show you before we get into the demo and swatches what that looks like. These palettes are pretty sizable, and in a moment here I'm going to show you a couple of other face palette duos that I have, so you can get a sense of just like how big this palette is compared to what some of the other brands have released. And this is Coral Rose. So Coral Rose is a pinky with a slight hint of orange in it. The highlighter is also this kind of soft golden color. And you saw in Blush Peony, it is more of a medium pink. And the highlighter is a white shimmery highlighter, but also has like a pink undertone to it. And having tried both, I think the highlighters do complement the blushes complement the highlighter. So I think the pairing, the color story pairing of these two are very nice, and you get a very beautiful, flattering look. So let's swatch these two, and then we'll take out some other face palettes that I have. We'll swatch those colors, compare highlighters and blushes, as well as the size of the actual product. Starting with Blush Peony, that medium pink, it's very pigmented. The product is also very smooth and soft. And then this is the highlighter. Beautiful, it just glides on the highlighter. Extremely easy to blend and melt into your skin. This is Coral Rose, which is softer than Blush Peony, I would say. Much softer. And then this is the highlighter from Coral Rose. And I love this highlight, this golden highlight. Just wow, look at that. And look at the difference between these two. You really do get like dramatically different between the two products. You know, if you were thinking, hey, maybe these two here, putting them side by side, might be too similar, the effect you get is really noticeably different. The blushes, you know, obviously one is more orange and this is much more pink, Blush Peony, Coral Rose. But once you add in the highlighter, you really get a different effect, a different look from the two. And another highlighter blush duo that I have is Chantecaille's, and this is their Radiant Cheek Chic in the color Rose. The sizes of the two, it's about half the size of Wayne Goss's palette. And in terms of product amount, this is 0.21 ounces, the Chantecaille palette, and then the blush here from Wayne Goss and highlighter is 0.67. So let's swatch this, because I think the pink here has some similarity to Peony Rose, but let's see. So this is from Chantecaille. So some similarity, but not quite the same shade of pink. And then let's swatch the highlighter. This is the highlighter from Chantecaille. I'm just gonna put it down here because I think it has some similarity to that golden highlight from Coral Rose. I would say Coral Rose is definitely much more blingier or shinier, whereas the golden highlight from Chantecaille's Rose palette, this looks much softer. And I would say the highlight is in general much softer once you apply it on as well, not just from the swatches. I guess it's pretty consistent with how it looks on my arm. And then I don't know if you can see all that well through camera, but to the naked eye, there is a bit more micro glitter or shimmer from the Chantecaille highlighter versus the Wayne Goss. And I think the Wayne Goss, because it looks denser, it has more impact when you put it on. And I also wanted to take out e.l.f.'s mini highlighter and blush palette, compared against Coral Rose. Obviously the blush colors are not the same, but they do have the idea of having this pink with a tinge of orange in it, paired with like a gold highlight. And I dug my finger into this just now. So sad, so sad. But you can see here the mini is about a quarter size of this palette. The actual product amount here is 0.16 ounces, and again the Wayne Goss palette is 0.67. So the e.l.f. palette, this is Guava. I'm just gonna swatch it. Guava, and we'll place it right in between the highlighter and the actual blush from Coral Rose. So you just have a look. It's very soft. I just placed the swatch here. I don't know if you guys saw it. It's so soft in comparison. Yeah, you can kind of see it. I'm sorry, it covered some of the highlighter. Yeah, there are some similarities to the two, even though the naked eye shows that, you know, this one is more pinky. And then for the highlighter, I'll place it right here below the Chantecaille highlighter. I would say this has a bit more maybe orange or coppery look or shimmer to it than this one, and then obviously, but I feel like they're kind of similar. In terms of quality, the Wayne Goss blushes and Chantecaille blushes are definitely higher quality because, you know, as I was even swatching, you can see that kind of kick up here. So the product, probably as you apply it, is not gonna apply on and blend out as smoothly and seamlessly as the Wayne Goss blushes or the Chantecaille blush and highlighter. And now that I've blended out that e.l.f. highlighter from Guava, I can see it's obvious there's some pink in it, whereas the highlighter from Wayne Goss's palette does not. And then obviously compared to Chantecaille also does not. So there's no pink undertone in those two, whereas in Guava there is. Well, let's head on to the demo. I'll see you guys after. We're gonna start with blush Peony. And on my right cheek, I'm going to put the blush on first and then the highlighter onto the high points of the cheek. And then on my left side, I'm going to put the highlighter first, followed by the blush. See what it looks like with the highlighter on top. So you have a very soft highlighter effect. It actually goes on really nicely onto the blush. It's very, you know, like Wayne Goss said, you know, it just doesn't highlight any texture on your cheek. It's like a veil. It's like adding something on so gently and lightly. It just kind of sits on there very softly, like a veil. I think the naming is pretty apt for the effect. Okay, let's try the other cheek now. For the left cheek, because I want to put the highlighter on first, I also want to cover more area with the highlighter to give that kind of glow within effect. So I'm actually going to go in with a bigger blush brush this time, and I'm just going to cover this entire area so you can already see that glow from the highlighter. And I'm not going to go back in to dip more product because I don't think we need a lot to get that glow within effect. Now let's apply the blush. So here you go. This is the highlighter on top of the blush. Blush is applied first. And then this side is the highlighter followed by blush on top. And I'm going to try a third option here. So I have the blush on and the highlighter just right here. I'm actually going to go in just like that, and I'm going to apply the highlighter sort of all over the cheek. And I just want to show you guys that the effect with the highlighter kind of all over the cheek area where the blush is a little bit different than how it looks when you have the highlighter below. So now we're just applying the highlighter to cover more areas of the cheek. So I wanted to show you, even if you were to put the highlighter on top of the blush and cover this whole area, it's still very flattering and soft, but impactful, and it still looks beautiful. It doesn't highlight any texture. Let's take another look. So it's still soft, but that sheen now is kind of all over the cheek. And here are the two differences. One is applying the highlighter on top, and then the other is having the highlighter under. Let's head on to take a look at Coral Rose. And taking Coral Rose, I'm going to put the blusher on one side of my cheek and then the highlighter on top. And then on the other side, I'm going to put the highlighter first and then the blusher on top. I think that's beautiful. It just goes on really smoothly and it complements everything. Yeah, that's really pretty. Really complements the blush. All right, on this side, I'm gonna go in with a fluffy brush just so I have enough area coverage for the highlighter. So I'm just gonna do that. I think that's a good amount of shine. And let's add the blush on top. What do you guys think? This definitely has more pop to it as you turn when the light hits it, whereas this side is kind of like an all-over glow that is soft and subtle. Yeah, I think I might like this side more just because it's a little bit softer, and I think that complements the smoky eye look a bit more. Oh, by the way, if you're interested in this eye look, I will link the video above so you guys can have a look. This is Charlotte Tilbury's Eye Pops palette, the limited edition she's released for the holiday. So for this very last part, I did want to add some highlighter on to my nose, the chin, and then the sides of my forehead, trying to bring all that light up here and just have that kind of glowing look throughout. So I'm actually going to go back in to blush Peony, since that's what I have on my cheeks, and we're going to do just that, kind of bring it all together. And worth noting too is the size of these palettes are so considerable. They're actually the same size as his eyeshadow palette that he meant for these highlighters to be easily used as body highlight. And I think that will look gorgeous if we're able to go to holiday parties this year and you kind of, you know, you're showing off your shoulders or something. You could certainly use a big brush to dust that on. And I think that would look gorgeous. It would just like reflect in all the right ways. And in addition to that, I think the sturdiness of the compact is something that I've been enjoying quite a bit as I pick it up. When I first got it, I didn't really have any particular feelings about it, but as I have picked it up a few times and just kind of working with it, I do like how sturdy it is and how easy it is to kind of hold. Sometimes palettes are like a little bit pointy in the corners, but I think these are just rounded so that there's, you know, this undeniable rectangle to it that is just softened. Yeah, I think this is like a very clean, understated design that I've learned to appreciate a bit more. I don't have the eyeshadow palette, so this is my first time actually getting to touch this compact. And I'm looking at my vanity here to see what else I actually took from my collection for comparison. And I didn't look at these at the start of the video, but I feel like, you know, this video isn't really too long. It was really quick and easy to show or to demonstrate these blushes. I'm gonna actually take a look here with you guys, the Natasha Denona blush palettes, because I've noticed once I started adding the highlighter on top of the blush, it started to give me this Natasha Denona Diamond and Blush palette vibe. If you guys recall, this big palette, it had been, I think it is still on special. So if you're interested, it's still available, I think both on Sephora and Natasha Denona's website. But this is Natasha Denona's Glow System. And this palette, 6 different products here. You could really use these 2 or these 3 to get the look that I have on, especially on the right side of my cheek. You could amp this up because there's more products to help you do that, but I thought it was interesting that Wayne Goss blushes could give you this effect with 2 products, and you didn't have to use 3 of these. So I'll just do a swatch of this powdered blush here and put it on my arm. We'll compare it to kind of these 2 pink blushes up top, and then we'll swatch the highlighter right here as well. So the blush on Natasha Denona's palette does have a sheen to it, whereas the blushes on Wayne Goss palettes are all matte. I think the pink, the rosiness, is similar to the comparison of Chantecaille's that I did here, but it's not that far off from Blush Peony either. This is the highlighter from the Natasha Denona palette. So it's kind of similar to Coral Rose. It does have that kind of golden undertone to it, but I would say not quite the same. I like that even within highlighter formulas, you get just varying levels of intensity and I guess the softness and how easy to apply. Yeah, really interesting. I think it does speak to Wayne Goss's formula in his product that you can achieve a very glass-like glowing look with 2 products in a palette, and you don't necessarily need to get a big face palette to achieve that. However, with the Natasha Denona palette, you can amp it up because there's also this diamond powder right here, and it is just everything. If you don't like chunky glitter or chunky crystals, which is what is in here, is actually crushed crystals, you're not gonna need this palette, but if you want to take it to the next level and really beam, this is the palette for that. So that is all I have for you guys today. I think this is a fabulous release from Wayne Goss. It's also great that he's made very clear he has the 40 and plus demographic, ages 40 and plus, in mind. And anything that he's formulated to work for that age group is gonna work for people below that and probably above 40 plus 50. So I just like that a lot about the marketing and just who he has in mind to formulate these products. And I think the results so far with the lipsticks and then now the blushes has been really incredible. And even though I haven't tried the eyeshadow palette, I've heard really, really good things about it as well. And I hope to give you guys an update on how the highlighter and blush wears throughout the day in my next Did It Work video, probably a couple of weeks from now when I've gone to try other new products that have been coming in. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys are having a great start to your week. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.